Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Pamela Epstein on the line, and she's General Counsel and Chief Regulatory and Licensing Officer over at Eden Enterprises, and this is a very special reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I had a guest on in the past, and I liked them so much I had to bring them right on back. So Pamela, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What a warm and wonderful introduction. Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Since our last time, you have a bunch of big news. So you're now over at Eden Enterprises in-house. So I want to get into that and also get into a couple other things with you and see how you're navigating the cannabis industry and how it's viewed, especially during the current crisis, but also just going forward, some of the issues. So let's start off with giving us a little bit of a background of what's going on over at Eden Enterprises, please.
Yeah, Eden Enterprises is a vertically integrated cannabis company. We have our dispensary, Garden of Eden, is located in the unincorporated area of Alameda County. We are a dinosaur, I'd like to say, in the cannabis environment, operating there compliantly with authorization from the county since 2003. So we've recently celebrated our Sweet 16.
That's awesome.
We've got, right? It's really exciting to be able to.
Yeah, it is. I love that you say dinosaurs. I love that you say it's a dinosaur, too, because it's the ripe old age of 16. It's awesome.
Yeah, no, that is. It's the ripe old age of 16, and cannabis gets you that far. But we've experienced challenges and pivots along the way. So we are prepared for what those entail, current crisis included. And we've got manufacturing, distribution, cultivation, and additional retail coming online, as well as hemp. So we are well-versed and in the game, and it was a really exciting opportunity to pivot from being a consultant and a lawyer to understanding the real operational challenges that my clients went through by going in-house and having to deal day-to-day with what operation logistics are with being compliant. Because it is easy to come in and red tag a business, right, and say A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3 are wrong, fix it. It's another to have to work through what does that mean to be compliant while also maximizing efficiencies and being a good business.
Let's talk a little bit more about some of the trends you're noticing in the industry. A lot of change going on, whether it's consolidation. There's a ton of them. Where do you want to start with that one?
Trends in the industry. I think you're going to see, and this is just heightened and elevated by the current COVID crisis, is consolidation and constriction in the marketplace. Knowing what your core competencies are and being able to execute on those is going to be fundamentally important. If you are not a legacy operator, for example, and you didn't have to do each one of your verticals while you were operating as an ag cooperative or a collective or whatever it was pre-2018 that you were doing, that meant that you were operating in multiple buckets most likely, so your core competencies can be greater. If, however, you are entering into the marketplace and you are an exceptional grower, or you are an exceptional edibles manufacturer, know what your core competency is and find somebody who either wants to expand what their base is or you fit into another SKU within what they are already doing. Because to start from scratch, from zero in this environment, you are most likely going to put a lot of good money after bad. And that's what we're seeing with the consolidation and the constriction, is that the compliance and licensing hurdles are extensive. They are real. Working through a licensing system at an annual or provisional level is very different than operating under what was the temporary regime, much easier to get in and start your operations.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I think I've had more than one conversation about that. And in one way, it's kind of. I mean, I feel like in one way for the little guy, it's kind of bad because it's really hard to be a startup right now. It takes a lot of capital. But in the other side of things, it's also like when you think about for the marketplace in general. I mean, most other industries do go through this. Like you have to specialize, you have to pick a niche, you have to be really good at some core competency to just to survive within just the normal trend of business in general. I think it's just a little bit tricky just based off of some of the players and the way this marketplace in general has evolved.
Absolutely.
So, Pamela, what do you see as kind of next? And what I mean by that is, so we know consolidation. We know that's going to happen. We know some people are going to partner. Is this like green rush? I don't want to say over, but is it hitting like a new level of plateau, or is there just plenty of opportunity in general in the market? I mean, what is your just overall feel for where we go next with this?
Well, I definitely don't think we've even seen the green rush yet. I think we've seen a peak and a valley, and we're in a valley. I think the true green rush really comes with, if we want to touch on what's happening with COVID right now, who survives this crisis, we are gaining momentum of a normalization at a scale that we've never seen before. People face with the real reality that what they use for health and wellness may be taken away from them before we got the state public order that says we are an essential business, which is a huge fundamental foundation. People went out and drove. We saw a 156% increase in sales overnight, right? That meant that people were no longer going to be ashamed, afraid, sending somebody else out to get what is either their medicine or their wellness treatment. They're showing through purchasing power, sheer amounts of consumer need, that's where we're at. And if that forces federal legalization and the breaking down of those financial barriers from a taxation and a banking standpoint, you're going to see a true green rush. And those that are able to capitalize on that are going to be the ones that are best positioned now, that had slow, steady, strategic, precision growth, right? Don't just grow to grow. Go to those core competencies, be able to excel and show, even if it's incremental growth, that you are continuously growing. Your trajectory is up, and you're going to see a hockey puck growth the way that is likely once you see some of those larger barriers to big business come down. So I think we saw the peak in the restricted market. We have not yet seen that happen from a fully descheduled and regulated market. But you got to survive to get to that point.
Let's touch on licensing for a bit. So anything interesting going on there?
I think licensing, absolutely. We're transitioning from what will be provisionals to annuals. People are having to meet all of their licensing requirements, understanding what it means to invest into a cannabis company and how you would transfer, if you can transfer ownership, because it all goes back to the ABCs of licensing and regulation. It's a local permit to get a state permit. You can't always do the same things that you can do at the state level at the local level. And the local level can always be more restrictive than the state. So it's about knowing the environment that you're getting into if you're an investor. And if you have a license, knowing what does that license mean. Not being an operation and selling non-operational licenses or not built out licenses, that part of the curve I think is over, and people want to see proof of concept. They want to know that what they're buying into is viable, not just that it's a piece of paper that entitles them to do something that other actors are already not only doing, but becoming proficient at with revenues to show for it. So it's a bit of a different ballgame.
For sure. So Pamela, first off, if somebody is listening to this and they want to learn more about Eden Enterprises or to connect, what's the best way for them to do that?
They can go to the website, www.edenenterprises.com, and that can show you all of the different verticals that Eden operates in, so that you can get a real feel for what a vertically integrated business is like. If they need to reach me specifically, They can reach out to me, Pamela, at EdenEnterprises.com. I am also fortunate enough to serve the industry in the capacity as a board member for the California Cannabis Industry Association, who is doing great work on behalf of the entire industry as we maneuver through some of these more difficult challenges, COVID and otherwise.
Fantastic. Well, Pamela, it's been great catching up with you on this 2020 reunion episode. Can't wait to have you back on in 2021, see what's going on in your world and all the great work that you've done with Eden Enterprises. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store. If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but leave us some comments in the video also. Let us know what you thought and what kind of businesses you're working on. Love to keep the conversation going in the YouTube community. And Pamela, thanks again for coming back on the show.